histogram is used to summarize discrete or continuous data. It provides a visual interpretation of numerical data by showing the number of data points that fall within the specified range of values. The parts of histogram are the title, which describes the information included in the histogram, and the x-axis, which are intervals that shows the scale of values which the measurements fall under, and y-axis shows the number of times that the values occurred within the interval set by the x-axis. The bar shows the number of times that the values occurred within the interval, while the width of the bar shows the interval that is covered. For histogram with equal bin, the width should be the same across all bars.
The term histogram was used for the first time by Carl Persson in 1895, a Renaissance scientist in Victorian London. Carl Persson, 1857 to 1936, was a prodigious and a consummate literary polymath whose quest for the philosophical, spiritual, and numerical truths was his lifelong odyssey. He has been credited with establishing the discipline of mathematical statistics.
Where did the histogram came from? The word histogram is of Greek origin, as it is a composite of the words histos, which means pole or mast, and gram, which means chart or graph. Hence, the direct definition of histogram is pole chart. Perhaps this word was chosen because a histogram looks like several poles standing side by side. In the Oxford English Dictionary, quotes from Philosophical Transaction of the Royal Society of London, it is mentioned that the word histogram was introduced by the writer in his lectures on statistics as a term for a common form of graphical representation, by columns markings as areas of frequency corresponding to the range of their base. Stigler identifies the lectures as the 1892 lectures on the geometry of statistics. It was mentioned in some quote that histograms were used long before they received their name, but their birth date is unclear.
What is histogram and what is its purpose? Histogram is a graphic presentation of data, while the same information can be presented in a tabular format. A histogram makes it easier to identify different data, the frequency of its occurrence, and categories. It has two axes, horizontal and vertical. Another name for histogram is a bar chart. Purpose of histogram is to roughly assess the probability distribution of a given variable by depicting the frequencies of observation occurring in certain ranges of values. General purpose of histogram is to present an easily understood summary about certain data. It can be almost any type of data. Statistical purpose. Using data presented in the histogram, you can determine statistical information.
How are histograms used in real life? The primary use of histogram is to summarize discrete or continuous data. It is efficient in providing visual interpretation of numerical data by showing the number of data points that fall within a specified range of values called bins. In real-life application, histogram can be used to determine the frequency distribution of either any topic or situation you want to give focus on, such as your monthly salary, age, height, business activities, and etc. Histogram shapes: G-shaped, skew to the right; normal, symmetrical triangle; bimodal, skew to the left; and uniform or rectangular. Basically, the application of histogram in real life is very crucial in terms of making quality improvements. Since the histogram is such a useful tool, it can have many uses, such as to display large amounts of data values in a relatively simple chart form, to tell relative frequency of occurrence, to easily see the distribution of the data, to see if there is a variation in the data, and last, to make future predictions based on the data.
So these are the different class intervals that are given. The first range is ube pandesals that cost between 20 and 40 pesos. We can see that the upper limit of one interval is equal to the lower limit of the next interval, making it continuous. As it's continuous, the first group would mean 20 pesos is less than or equal to the price of the ube pandesal, which will be less than 40 pesos. The lower limit, which is 20, is included, but the upper limit is not. So in the second group, 40 is included, along with all the numbers less than 60 but not equal to 60. In the second row, we have the number of ube pandesals sold for each category. 20 ube pandesals of this 20 to 40 pesos category was sold, then 35 of this category, and so on. So now we will use histogram to represent the continuous form of grouping. The first thing that we do is draw the x and y axis. We draw the axis and make equal intervals in each of them. Then, second, we label the axis. We have the ube pandesal sold in the y-axis and price range of ube pandesal on the x-axis. Now we have to choose a suitable scale for the y-axis. The number of ube pandesal sold range between 5 and 35. A scale of 1 cm equals to 10 ube pandesals on the y-axis. We start writing the values on the y-axis, 5, 10, 15, and so on. And on the x-axis, we start writing the price range of ube pandesals. The first range is 20 to 40, 40 to 60, and so on up to 120 to 140. Now we just have to draw the appropriate bars for each class interval. For the range 20 to 40, the frequency is 20. So based on the scale, we draw a bar length 4 centimeters and we continue the process till we reach the last range. This is now the histogram.
Histograms has quite some of its weaknesses. They communicate little and deals mostly just with frequency information. It talks about how many are within each bin. Another is that they are not appropriate for measuring nominal and ordinal data.
A histogram can present data that is misleading. For example, using too many blocks can make analysis difficult, while too few can leave out important data. Histograms are based on two sets of data, but to analyze certain types of statistical data, more than two sets of data are necessary. For example, the blocks may denote the number of months in a year and the vertical line, the number of students attending college each month. However, it doesn't tell you the number of male and female students.